The ceremony is about to begin.
Awake. Shake dreams from your hair, my pretty child, my sweet one. Choose your head, choose the sign every day, the days to meditate. First thing you see. A vast, radiant beach and a cool, jeweled moon. Couples naked race down by its quiet side. And we laugh.
Hanoi.
Children smug in the woolly cotton brains of infancy.
Hanoi
Music
is
voices
famous
all around us.
in the US for its hotel, the Hanoi Hotel. During the Vietnam War, it housed the political prisoners or
Shoes they
the prisoners of
prove
war,
and
the American POWs.
shoes now they prove beneath the moon.
It was called
Like
the Hanoi Hotel
forest,
by the Americans because
everything is broken up.
it housed them.
Me and my mother and father and a grandmother and grandfather were driving through the desert.
A short while ago, a short while ago, the North Korean supreme leader arrived by train at Hanoi. He met a few dignitaries, and Trump is already on his way. He's en route, and he will be landing later today.
Freaking out and just leaped into my soul. And you're still there.
In my opinion, when you're trying to understand the second summit between Trump and Kim, the most important thing to note is the following. Number one, the venue of the meeting is Vietnam. Now, the Vietnamese are plucky people, plucky, as different from, say, the Japanese, who are courageous. There's a difference. Now, the Indians, as in India, India, India is far, 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 far superior in battle. Now, its leadership may be poor, has been poor for decades, but now we have some good leadership in Modi. Now, why am I bringing Modi into this whole affair? because right now the Indian military is hopping mad, and this entire region is crucial to the Indian Navy as well as the Indian Army. Now, the Indian Navy, because the Chinese have been claiming the whole of the South China Sea, as everyone knows, and in fact, Vietnam is the primary battleground for this kind of attrition, apart from the East China Sea, which belongs to Japan, as in Japan dominates that area. Now, why is Vietnam so important? Because the Chinese last about what 4 5 years ago now, they invaded the that part of the South China Sea that belonged to Vietnam. They brought in an oil rig, and now the Vietnamese are a much smaller navy, and also China took advantage of the fact that it was the undisputed partner in trade of the United States. Hence, the U.S. could not move definitely militarily against them as long as they were interlocked in a trade relationship that was crucial. America could not do without China at that point, or so China thought. That was the logic behind this expansion. Now, since then, things have changed. Now, it's a little complicated, so bear with me a while. Um, yeah, just a little. Now, how does India come into the picture? Now, the Indian Navy has always had very, very friendly relations with the entire Southeast Asian Committee of Nations. So it has, along with the US Navy, in joint or solo Indian naval operations, rid the entire Malacca Straits of pirates. You know, there were lots of pirates like renegade Indonesians, Africans, hundreds of them. Now, they've all been cleared over, of course, the past, 70 years since the end of the World War II. So, the Indian Navy has a pretty robust presence in the South China Sea, not exactly South China Sea, but overlooking the South China Sea, commanding the South China Sea through the Malacca Straits. Now, China has been building up its navy. Its navy is far, far more technologically advanced than the Indians, because it's pumped billions into it over the past, let's say, at least 25 years, especially 20 years since it has modernized. Now, the Indian Navy has aging equipment because of there's tremendous corruption in India. Now, however, the Indian Navy is far better trained, far, far, far better trained. It operates aircraft carriers, etc., which is a special skill. Now, into this complicated mix, you bring in, at this moment in time, which is 2019, the way things are with the trade dispute between the US and China. You bring the summit between North Korea, which is China's main subversive ally, after, but only after Pakistan. The Pakistan is their number one subversive ally, as in the Chinese, let's say, foreign policy, I guess you could call it. What's that fellow's name? Sun Tzu, Sun Tzu, Sun Tzu, Sun Tzu. It depends on which province of China you're from, the way you pronounce this guy's name. So he was a strategist. He was a military strategist, a good strategist. So, according to him, the basic thing is you encircle your enemies without without aggression. Now, she is a little more ambitious than Sanchit. Now, he's actually, in the last plenary of the Communist Party, he actually declared his intent to and laid out the ideological basis for it. I mean, well, after a fashion, for China's dominance. Now, the Trump obviously did not like it, and he took he took several steps, which all the world knows. They do not need to be detailed here. However, the steps Modi, the Prime Minister of India, took are not so well known yet. Now, in 2018, which is last year, there has been a massive, underreported shift in India's and the developed world's strategy. Strategy as in long term dealing with China's military aggression in the South China Sea, and of course it'll spill into its geopolitical activities and politics, and strong arm tactics and bilateral trade and how it bullies its neighbor, all that stuff. However, it begins with this. It doesn't begin, but this is a very important part of it: the military containment. So, hence, the developed world, beginning with the US, ending with even Germany, Germany, England, France, etc., etc. So the Americans and all these people and India declared the area, this entire South China Sea, etc., etc., Malacca Straits and everything, as the Indo-Pacific. Now, historically, it is true that India has dominated this entire region. These people were uncivilized, is a good word for it. For a very long time, all right? Now, the Indo-Pacific means that India has commandeered that entire space, of which the South China Sea is a small bylane. So the Indo-Pacific stretches from where? From the tips of Africa to South America. So it's a huge, vast region. Now, let's see now. Let's not get carried away. Let's not stray too far from the point. The point being that Vietnam is a very important venue for this summit. The Vietnamese are close to the Indians, have been historically, etc., etc., modern, after World War II, everything, right? The Americans have come round to respect the Vietnamese after they lost that war. In fact, the entire thing is about that Vietnam War. It left a deep scar on the Americans. Now, the good thing about the Americans is they make terrible mistakes, but they learn from them. Now, India, well, look, India is a giant country, but militarily we're not as strong as we should be. Now, back to the summit. Now, the summit, the venue is important. The timing of it is very important. If you read through, the American media has entirely dismissed this summit, the second summit, as they did the first summit, which was in Singapore, which I covered. Now, in fact, In fact, CNN is right now airing a town hall of Bernie Sanders or some crap like that. Excuse me a second.
The movie will begin in 5 moments, the mindless voice announced. All those unseated will await the next show. We filed slowly, languidly into the hall. The auditorium was vast. As we seated and were darkened, the voice continued. The program for this evening is not new. You have seen this entertainment through and through. You've seen your birth, your life and death. You might recall all of the rest. Did you have a good world when you died? Enough to base the movie on? Getting out of here. Where are you going? To the other side of morning. Please don't chase the clouds, pagodas. Her cut gripped him like a warm, friendly hand. It's all right, all your friends are here. When can I meet them? After you've eaten. I'm not hungry. Oh, we meant beaten. Silver streams, silvery scream. Ooh, impossible concentration. Curses, invocations, weird bait-headed mongrels. I keep expecting one of you to rise. Large, buxom, obese queens, garden hogs, and cunt boyfriends. Quaint cabbage saints, shit hoarders and individualists, drag strip officials. Salesmen, my militant dandies, all strange order of monsters, hot on the trail of the woodfire. We welcome you to our procession. Here come the comedians. Look at them smile, watch them dance, and then look at them gesture, how a promise that gesture of doing. Words resemble walking sticks. Laughing at the girl, watch them wave herself. I'll always be a word man.
This is the end, my only friend, the end of our red lines, the end of everything that stands, the end, no safety, no surprise, the end. I'll never look into your eyes. Can you picture what will be so endless and free? Desperately
was I? I lost my place, man. Never mind, never mind. I lost my place. Alright. So, alright. Let's listen to some gunfire.
Saigon. Shit.
Now, the sum of it, the very crux of it, the eye of the needle is this. China has historically screwed around with India through Pakistan. Now, the Pakistanis are, I suppose, okay, but, I don't know, they're weaselly, slimy characters, I suppose. Now, uh, since there has been a terrorist attack in Jammu of the Kashmir state, which is a disputed sort of region. It's part of an Indian state, but that's just a sleight of hand by the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, why was it a sleight of hand? Because the Kashmir region, the valley itself, is very beautiful, it's pristine, it's pure, it's special, it's very, very, very special. In any case, that's a different matter entirely. There's been a terrorist attack, and 40 over 45, 50, 56, I don't know. Yeah, well, some are in hospital, intensive care. Hello, man. Give me some space here. In any case, died. So many people died. Alright? Now, the Indian army is hopping mad. The blame lies not with the little shits Pakistan, but China. So, hence, China is crucial in this whole affair. Now, the stock markets are rising in China. It is now, after being in a period of what? Down market, as in, that's the wrong word, as in a bear territory. By the way, they called Xi, the president of China, Papa Bear in China. In any case, the stock market, after a bear phase, entered a new bull phase. You know why? Only because Trump has said that he will very, very, very soon strike a deal. These suckers fall for words. Now, so this is the timing. It's been set up nicely. The Chinese have no idea about market economics. They have never handled real markets. They're just a little communist, people. However, they achieved great things. So let's not be disrespectful of the Chinese people. Because, hello, I mean, 20, 30, well, I don't know how, just a short time, they raised 600 million people out of poverty. All right? In any case, the main thing here is China cannot walk away from this whole mess, nor can the Unity State of America. Got it? Got it, Trump? You cannot shit all over Afghan, Pakistan, and not even wipe your ass. Get it? Alright. Now, India is like preparing for war. And a war here, my friend, is much more deadly than North Korea can ever do. India and Pakistan are fully nuclear armed neighbors. Fully nuclear armed. It'll be the beginning of World War III. So take heed. Now listen to some gunfire.
Spotted a large weapon down below. We're gonna go down and check it out.
Outstanding, Red Team, outstanding. Get your case of beer for that.
We're over the village right now. I think I see a vehicle down in the courtyard. I'm going to check it out.
Well done, Hawks, well done. Wants a 20 Mike Vulcan right along those tree lines. Ripple the shit out of them.
Got a vehicle on the bridge. 50 caliber on board. He's moving across. He's playing the weapon.
Big dude, 6. Clearly I am coming out myself. These people having about to
Nice shot, Bill.
In Hanoi, in Hanoi, you know what the greatest problem the Western tourist faces? How does he cross the street, man? That's funny. Alrighty. Hang on a second. What do you say now? It's been half an hour? Okay, I think that should do. Wait for the next update. Alright, one last shot here. Look, I don't want to say exactly where I am. Alright? So hang on a second. I need to camouflage. Okay, this is well. No, not this one. Wait a second. Just wait a second. Not this guy. No street signs. No names. Alrighty. This. See? These guys wouldn't last 5 seconds in India.